Welcome to Life It with DVD. I am back with another video, and today I don't entirely know what I'm going to talk about. However, I do, and what I wanted to talk about was crisis and things being another opportunity to learn. And I don't know why I'm laughing right now. I guess I'm just laughing at the silliness of me doing another video without it being organized and feeling like it should. But I feel like at the same time, this is a good opportunity to do a video based on my experiences that I have had today. So, my experience is that we have had to have our well pump replaced. And that sucks because it costs a boatload of money, and we didn't have water the past 24 hours, and it's been a bit of a tough month as far as expenses go. Random things just popping up out of nowhere, and we don't have water, or it's just big costs on the horizon. And we also had a burst pipe a few months ago as well. And that was a whole nother mess that took several weeks to clean up, and different plumbers here and everything. But throughout this whole experience, instead of being kind of a crisis situation this time, the last time with the burst pipe, it felt like more of a crisis situation because there was just water pouring out all over the basement floor, a brand new floor that I had put in myself a few months ago, and there's an inch of water on it. And instead of feeling like a crisis situation, and that was certainly more urgent at that time, um, this situation has felt much more controlled, I guess. Although we didn't lose water completely, we lost a lot of water pressure. So the past 24 hours, we've kind of just been working around that. Um, and it hasn't been that bad, though. And I think the main thing is a management of expectations better. Because we have gone through this crisis situation with our house already, around our water. Um, I think there was an acknowledgement yesterday, trying to troubleshoot what's going on, that this is just part of home ownership, and that inevitable costs and unexpected things are going to come up. And that is literally just how it is. Because during the first situation with the burst pipe, I was calling people like, "What do we do?" In this sort of situation, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I had a burst pipe a few years ago. Oh yeah, I had a burst pipe last year." And it dawned on me that it's like, this is actually a common thing, and it's not something to really, you know, um, to really need to experience a whole emotional wave over. Certainly, it feels like it's a catastrophic thing, and it is, right? I mean, obviously, we've never had that experience, but now we have, right? Now we've had two different experiences around our whole plumbing and water situation, and we actually did have another burst pipe last year too, but that was more on a smaller scale. Um, but the well drillers called the place where we live, well, they didn't call it anything, but I called it Shit Mountain, and they pretty much agreed that the water around here is not very good, as well as just drilling for water around here. However, we have enough water in the well, and this new pump, because we had to have the pump replaced, should last us 20 years potentially. They had said that some pumps can last 30 years. However, ours lasted, I guess, 20. The pump was put in 2003 when the house was built, so we're pretty lucky that we've made it 20 years with the amount of crap water around here. Um, So anyway, I mean, I felt fortunate for that. The pump just started breaking down. The impellers, I guess, some of the bearings were just kind of coming loose over time, and that's why I needed to be replaced. But it's interesting just kind of talking about it now because it just doesn't feel as much of a big deal as you know it would have felt. I think a few months ago. I think there's just an acknowledgement kind of going on within my own consciousness that hey, this is what happens. Shit happens sometimes, and you don't always need to go on the whole emotional wave around it, and just get on that, and then feel those emotions and get stuck in them. I think you can feel these things and just say, yeah, it's going to disappear. And this is like all sort of crisis situations. And everything that happens to us, we're going to experience an emotional wave around what happens. And it can be fear, shock, awe. I mean, it can be a positive emotion, happiness, exhilaration. Um, you know, Obviously negative emotions too, sadness, grief, fear. All sorts of things can go through us at the same time. And instead of trying to just hold on to them and be upset about the situation, we really need to become better at letting go of these things, feeling them first, and then letting them go. And I think because I was able to feel through the past crisis scenarios, it made it easier for this situation to just kind of be like, yep, this is part of it, and what are we gonna do? Because I think there's always a part of us that wants to try to figure out how can we rectify this? How can we make it better so this doesn't happen again, right? When some of these things you can't control, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, they just happen. And there's no point in getting all worked up about it, even if it ruins the plans for other stuff, which it did. But what are you going to do? This is part of life. Life is unpredictable. Life is a journey, and it's an adventure. And all we can do is just embrace the time that we have here. Holding on to these negative emotions and getting all worked up all about it, it doesn't really help anybody. Because if like we're worked up about it, then other people can get worked up about it, and it's just it brings other people down too. So if you are experiencing, heavy emotional wave around your own crisis or whatever, and whatever it is, it can be in all sorts of different things. It's important to take the time away to feel that, to write about it, to talk about it, acknowledge it, um, and realize that in some situations you just can't do anything about the crisis, right? Because typically crises come up because, well, I mean, it's a freak thing. Unexpected things happen. And all you can do is respond to them as best as you can after the fact, right? And no amount of preparation or control or alertness can really do anything about that. And I think I bring that up because not everybody is good at rolling with the punches. I mean, not everybody is easygoing, and can just let these things go. I mean, I used to be much more of a controlling person, just like trying to manage my environment. But at the same time, I've started to realize that it's like you can't control everything. You can't control what people think about you or the environment or the situation or their own emotions. They can't be micromanaged. A lot of the times what other people are experiencing is 100% on them, and it has nothing to do with you at all. So ultimately, if you realize this anytime that you start feeling overwhelmed by other people or situations or whatever, just realize it's out of your control. And the only thing that you are in control of is yourself and your perspective of a situation, the way you view it, how you come at it, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do. All you can do is just clean up the mess, deal with it, and learn, right? And that's ultimately what all of this is about right now, is the experiences that we have in life, the crises that we have, are opportunities to learn. And although they might suck and ruin a lot of different things, we can learn a lot about ourselves in the process of of these situations, and how we can manage ourselves better, and really just overcome it. Over, just be prepared for other crazy situations that we're just never expecting, right? Because crazy things happen anymore, as I feel like everybody can learn. There is insane amounts of uncertainty, as I feel like I always talk about here. Lots of uncertainty in the world, and I think we just need to try to embrace and accept that for what it is. Um, and yeah, once again, if you are like blindsided by this sort of thing, well, experience it. It's okay, right? You'll live another day, right? Ultimately, my barometer of success is if I am waking up tomorrow and I get a fresh day, well, that is a fresh opportunity to learn, to solve problems, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have consciousness, even if other things seem like they are falling down around me. Because not every day is going to be like this, right? And this is part of the adventure. So, for what it's worth, this is just me summarizing the learning opportunities in crisis scenarios. Um, and I know other people have, these situations as well. So I just thought I'd share my experience. Um, and I realize like other people have different, emotional waves to these things as well. Some people just don't care. It is what it is. But they might not take things from it. They might not learn from it. And ultimately, in these things, I think it's good to care, but you know, learn from it. Learn your own self. Uh, Learn your own emotional experience from these things. Um, is there something that you could have done differently? If it's a crisis situation that you could have prevented, what could you have done differently? And thinking about that is an important thing too, because I think for a lot of people there are things that could be done, but in some situations you can't do anything. So it is what it is. So yeah, I hope people might have enjoyed me sharing my experience around our well breaking. I could always share a little bit more about it, but without going into the details, I'm not an expert. But yeah, so yeah, we just called the plumber, and or it wasn't a plumber, it was a well driller, and yeah, he came out and replaced it. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now. If you enjoyed this video, please like or subscribe. It'd mean a tremendous amount to me. What other crisis scenarios have you gone through where you have been forced to learn from? What are the lessons that you took away in regards to the situation and yourself? It'd be interesting to hear. And yeah, once again, we've hit the weekend, so another week of 5 videos. I'm happy with that. And yeah, thanks for joining. Until next week, I guess I will talk to you then.